I'm going to make a profit on this house. I know I will. I don't understand why people are groaning about inflation. Being a real estate speculator and developer, I love it. All I need to do is borrow money from the bank and then buy the house. And thanks to inflation, as prices rise, I'll raise the rent on the renter. I make a profit because the rents I charge cover my costs, and when I sell it, I keep all the profits. And then I'll just do it all over again. Dear Diary, oh inflation, how I love you. Since you decrease the value of money, those lowly renters see a decrease in their real wages that are adjusted for inflation. If their nominal wages cannot increase as much as the general price level, that gives me the perfect excuse to sell their property when inflation is high, so I get back much more than I pay. Not to mention how you punish those banks that loan me money without accurately anticipating inflation. They charge me an insufficient amount of nominal interest rates that is much less than the unanticipated inflation. And what am I left with? An almost non-existent real interest rate on those loans.
Jerry Scrooge, you nasty, deplorable, evil little man. Your cruelty and selfishness will destroy you.
Jacob Marley, my old business partner? I thought you died at the Ariana Grande concert when you were trampled by that horde of 12-year-old girls.
They were 13, and that's not important. What matters is that you don't understand inflation.
Of course I understand inflation. It's when everything is more expensive and I get paid big bucks.
That's not quite true, old chap. Inflation is much more than that. But I know you won't listen to me, so be prepared to be visited by the spirit of inflation.
Awaken, scoundrel, it is I, the ghost of inflation's past, here to tell you inflation is not always a groovy thing. I know because I've lived through it. I'm from a mystical time called the 70s, when stagflation ruled America. As energy costs rose exponentially during the Arab oil embargo, input prices, or the price of resources for businesses, increased, and what were we left with? A decrease in short-run aggregate supply. A negative supply shock. We had both high inflation and...
Hold on, did you say high inflation?
He didn't let me finish. Anyway, stagflation means we had both high cost-push inflation, or rising prices caused by a change in input costs, and high cyclical unemployment. When people lose their jobs due to a downturn in the business cycle. That's a deadly combo. Here, I'll show you since you're probably not listening. This is the short-run Phillips curve. On the y-axis, we have the annual rate of inflation, and on the x-axis, we have the unemployment rate. Now, our long-run Phillips curve is situated about 5.5%. That is the natural rate of unemployment for about our time. But during the 70s, when I was out being groovy, our unemployment was at 9%, labeled here at point A. But since short-run aggregate supply had shifted to the left even more, the short-run Phillips curve shifted to the right. This then pushed us further and further from our natural rate of unemployment, the level of unemployment an economy experiences when all of its resources are fully employed. And any economy at over 9% unemployment is not very good, in addition to an increase in inflation.
This is all so ridiculous. I'm going to bed.
Scrooge, your ordeal is not over yet. I am the ghost of inflation's present, here to show you how your desire for inflation has harmed those around you. Now, wear something presentable. We're going for a little trip.
Why am I still in my pajamas? And what is this place? Whose house is this?
This is Chase's house, the banker who recently loaned you the money to purchase your new property. Because of the unexpected inflation, the money that you are paying back to Chase is worth less, meaning that...
So what? Not my problem now.
Jerry, stop talking. Listen. Inflation is hurting Chase. Since the purchasing power of his money is decreasing, there is nothing that can be done unless the Fed practices contractionary monetary policy. This is the money market graph. On the y-axis, you have the nominal interest rate. And on the x-axis, you have the quantity of dollars in the economy. By selling securities to banks, forcing the money supply to go down, and interest rates to go up, thus the higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive. slowing down growth and making it less likely that businesses will raise prices, curbing inflation.
But then I won't get paid as much.
Not initially, but over time you will still profit, and Chase will be able to eat and attend any Ariana Grande concert he wants.
Oh my, I've already seen the ghost of inflation's past and present. I hope there's not a ghost of inflation yet to come.
Jerry, it's me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm here to set you straight and show you the future of our world with high inflation. Several years from now, our economy will be producing real GDP beyond the production possible at full employment, meaning we will be at an inflationary gap, like this. This is my inflation pad, which has the aggregate demand, aggregate supply diagram on it. The y-axis indicates the price level, which also indicates the level of inflation. The x-axis has real GDP, which indicates the level of production our nation is producing at. Right now, we are at equilibrium with long-run aggregate supply, meaning that we are operating at full employment, which is the maximum amount of employment we can have without increasing inflation. However, in the future, aggregate demand will increase due to an increase in income. That increases consumer expenditures. But as a result, we will be at an inflationary gap, since price levels will increase, as will real GDP. That's when the conflict will start. We will all hope for a solution. The classical economists will assume that wages and prices will increase on their own to shift the SRIS to the left in no time, thereby bringing us back from inflation to full employment at the new equilibrium. But the Keynesians will want government action. They will claim that due to contracts, wages and prices would only increase in the long run, and that could take decades. So their solution will be a contractionary fiscal policy by which government spending will decrease and taxes will increase to make aggregate demand shift to the left and bring the country back into equilibrium with the long-run aggregate supply.
What they should do is probably help all those real estate developers in need. They are clearly the backbone of this economy.
Jerry, I will never discuss normative economics. Those are just value judgments of economic policies that cannot be proved. I'm only into positive economics. Give me factual statements about policies that can be backed up with evidence.
It looks like the classical and Keynesian economists are both correct, since either way, we return to full employment. Well, that was pretty easy.
Yes, it was. Unfortunately, the Keynesians and the classicists won't see it that way. Before you and I know it, there will be a full-blown war between them. Millions of people are at risk of being caught in this conflict. Heed my warning, Jerry. Inflation will be the downfall of this country.
No! Now I see the error of my ways. Even though inflation enables me to charge more rent since the value of money is decreasing, other people in the economy overall are very hurt by it. And my predictions were wrong. Inflation won't last forever. Government, fiscal, and monetary policy make sure of that.